What's up, guys? Thanks for being here. I was watching this guy's stream last night for a little bit when all of this was going down, and he was having a bit of a meltdown. I wanted to go back to the moment where he actually found out what happened and go through the whole part of that, because what I saw, he was well into the acceptance phase of this, and apparently he went on for another 5 hours after this. But this is the moment where one of the world's largest leftist streamers found out that Iran had just taken a massive hit. He doesn't handle it too well, but I did enjoy what I saw, so I figured I would check out what was going on here, and I'd love to see it. I'd love to see some more of this, so I figured I would watch it here with you guys. So by all means, leave a like, whatever you're supposed to do on these things, and we'll go from there. All right, let's go.
We have completed, what the fuck, breaking. Donald Trump just said, we have completed the very successful attack on 3 nuclear sites in Iran, 4 down, Natanz and Isfahan. All aircraft are now out of Iranian space. A full load of bombs was dropped on the main site, Fordow. All aircraft are safely on their way home. Congratulations to our great American warriors. No other military in the world could have done this. Now is the time for peace. That's it?
That's it. That's it, guys. That's the whole story. That's the end of it. Nothing else to see here. Now is the time for peace. And other than that, there's nothing else to do. I don't know why he means that's it. I guess that's not enough razzle dazzle for him. I think it's plenty of razzle dazzle. But you see a little bit of unbelief. I guess would be the best way to say this. Non-belief, maybe. But he's going to find out.
What the fuck?
His language isn't very good, but it is what it is. Lots of silence on this too. Good Lord.
Okay, I need a fucking CNN link pronto. Do we have one?
Poll shows that tattoos, well, they're trending to the right. According to YouGov, they're now more common among Republicans than Democrats, and that's a complete reversal from a decade
Oh my
ago.
God. Oh my God. Republicans are fucking talking about tattoos, bro.
It's actually that's really pathetic, actually. So just so you know, I mean, again, just in perspective here, kudos to him. He got this news out to his followers quicker than Fox News did. That's really good.
Oh my fucking Lord.
They're going to convert. Oh my God. I didn't see this part.
Okay, we're ahead of the news. We're ahead of the news.
I give him credit. He absolutely is. He is absolutely ahead of the news on this. And he is well ahead of it, actually. And, look, I'm looking at this through hindsight. He's reacting to it in real time, and that's great.
The news is not even caught up yet because this just happened, which is why they're not even, what?
Yeah, you're going to notice something, and I've heard a lot of him in clips and stuff. This is the first time I've ever really watched anything in a long form of his, and if I'm going to suffer through it, so are you. You'll notice a lot of, what do you mean? And I've noticed my kid does it too. And my kid doesn't watch this because he's 7 years old, but my kid does that a lot too. What do you mean? What are you saying? Huh? Like, we had a rule in our house. If you said, huh, you lost privileges, because I'm sick of hearing it so much. But what do you mean? What are you saying is something that comes out a lot. The wheels are turning on this guy a lot. Slowly.
Did he accidentally post that too soon or something? President Trump announces the U.S. has bombed Fordow, Natanz, and Isfahan in Iran. He calls it successful and says U.S. planes are outside of Iranian space. Now is the time for peace, he writes. Dude, the peace president does it again? What do you mean? What do you mean the peace president? We just bombed a fucking foreign nation. What the fuck do you mean, peace president?
I think what they mean is the removal of the idea that Iran is going to have nuclear weapons. So if there is a war with them, it won't be a nuclear war. I think that's part of what that means. It also means hopefully they can get them to stand down, which, by the way, today, and again, watching this the next day, the day after the attacks started, what we learned was Iran might be about to have a little bit of a token response, and they don't want to have like a huge escalation here, which why would they? They just had a big problem with America flying over 3 of their nuclear sites and dropping bombs on them. And there were a lot of airplanes involved in that who flew into their country willy-nilly and did whatever they want and then left. It's not really a fight you want to get into if you're them, but, maybe you do go down that path if you are so inclined, but they should not be so inclined. Let's get back to Hasan.
He said it again. I gave Iran chance after chance to make a deal. This is early, dude. This is from a couple fucking weeks ago. Or not a couple weeks ago. This is from like a week ago. Why are you sending me a tweet from June 13th?
I guess being a streamer is a hard job. I mean, because you have to react.
I told
to
you
what's
that
going
2
on
week
in
narrative
real
was
time.
bitch shit just to make the Israeli freak out as punishment for forcing his hand. Wait, first of all, I also never believed the fucking 2 week narrative. I told you that it was most likely going to happen this weekend.
Wait, this guy might get it. I mean, I feel the exact same way. I have told my audience very clearly. I said, this whole thing about 2 weeks, just think about this. He said within 2 weeks. That could mean tomorrow, which it did. So he did do it within 2 weeks. So he was actually right on that. But go on, Hasan. He's so mad. He's so mad about this.
Yeah, here it is. We have completed our very successful attack on 3 nuclear sites in Iran, including Fordow, Natanz, and Esfahan. The Truth Social post got deleted and updated 18 seconds ago.
For a little background for those who are watching as he tries to get those wheels to turn, one of the things that's going on, and again, he's ahead of the news, by the way. He is ahead of the news. He's ahead of CNN and Fox News. So just keep that in mind. But for a little background, this guy supports Hamas. This is one of the very, he said that America deserves 9/11. And this guy is not a good guy, but he is very influential. Democrats brought him to the convention. They kicked him out, obviously, afterwards, but they did bring him there. So he's very influential amongst the left online. You can't deny that. You don't have to like him. And I always tell this about people with Donald Trump. You don't have to like the person you're talking about, but you do have to understand them. If you claim you don't understand, and by the way, it's kind of funny, I'm talking about this with him. If you're talking about you don't understand it, then don't talk about it. I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't get it. If that's 90%, what do you mean? If that's 90% of what you say, then you probably don't know what you're doing. But this guy does that, and he's still very popular.
This was the OG. What's different about it? What's different about this from the other one? We have completed our very successful attack on the 3 nuclear sites in Iran, including Fordow, Natanz, and Esfahan. All planes are now out. Baba vurdular. Amerika vurdu. İran'a. Nükleer siteleri. Fordow, Natanz ve Esfahan. CNN is fucking doing Viagra commercials. And Fox is talking about the Democratic Party's style still.
Give the guy credit. He's ahead of the curve. That's true. It's absolutely true. It's absolutely true. You.
Trump said he struck Iran, the American troops. American
speed this up and get to where
no,
he
it
is.
is. He deleted it and then reposted it.
Let's speed this up a bit.
We have completed a very successful attack on 3 nuclear sites in Iran, including Fordow, Natanz, and Esfahan. All planes are now outside of Iranian airspace. A full payload of bombs were dropped on the primary site, Fordow. All planes are safely on their way home. Congratulations to our great American warriors. There's not another military in the world that could have done this. Now is the time for peace. Thank you for your attention to this matter.
I've spent
nothing was changed in the fucking repost. Guys, I'm on CNN. There's nothing happening. Remember when General Keane advised them, tell the Iranians through the back channels it will be a one-time strike, don't respond or else? Now we wait.
Exactly right. That's exactly right. So the same thing I had with Soleimani. I mean, it's exactly the same thing. We told him, hey, look, you can have a little token response if you make yourself feel better. But if you go big, we're coming back. And that's basically what we told him as well. And if you're wondering where I sped it up, it's because I'm trying to get to the meat here.
What are the other bombers doing today? What do you mean? They're probably coming in because of a potential retaliation, which might come. And I think it will, but I don't know. We'll see. Now we wait. From this point on, we wait. We see what Iran's retaliation is going to look like. But remember, right as this information was coming in, I said they are perhaps holding off on deploying ballistic missiles because they're worried about an imminent American strike. Literally, this happened this was the most expected attack, the most anticipated attack of all time. Seymour Hersh was right, for the record. Cy Hersh's reporting was correct. No, oh shit. Al Jazeera is just
I'm
now.
bringing you some breaking news now. We're just seeing U.S. President Donald Trump post on his Truth Social account that the U.S. has attacked 3 Iranian nuclear sites. Trump has said that joined the Israeli air campaign, and now we wait to hear more from Tehran and the Iranian government. All planes are now outside of Iran airspace. This is, I'm reading now from the Truth Social post.
They got caught so off guard that their delivery mechanism for this looks like a live stream, looks like my fucking live stream. Look at this, both CNN.
Actually, your live stream is better. You had it first. Don't take credit for it, man. Now, of course, this is our, 6 of a 10-hour live stream. I mean, he makes a ton of money. Don't get me wrong. This guy is, 1.7 million people watch this stream. Not all at once, but 1.7 million watch this stream. He's streaming right now, and I think he has 50,000 people watching. I mean, it's insane. It's completely insane. Completely insane.
Literally, they screenshotted it so fucking fast that they still have the notification up.
He says in all caps, thank you for attention to this matter. Again, the breaking news coming from President Donald Trump that the U.S. has indeed bombed sites in Iran. I want to go to Elena Treen, who is there at the White House. Elena, just to back up for a second, this news coming that they have attacked 3 nuclear sites there in Iran, as we saw President Trump coming back to meet with his national security team there at the White House, as we saw these B-2 bombers, stealth bombers that were involved in this being mobilized earlier. What more are you learning as we get this brand new information?
He's very upset, and I've sped it up because there's not much happening right here. These guys are very slow on it, but we're watching a guy watch TV. That's what we're doing.
Yeah, so we do know that the president is still currently inside the West Wing with his national security officials. We saw CIA Director John Ratcliffe enter the West Wing just a little over an hour ago. Secretary of State Marco Rubio, we just spotted moments ago outside of the West Wing on the phone, engaged in a phone call. And look, I mean, so far all we know is what we have seen the president post. Of course, this is very different from some of the things that we've been hearing in recent days, that he was still weighing this decision. Well, despite that 2-week deadline that he gave himself on Thursday, just 2 days ago, he has now, of course, made that decision moving forward with this series of strikes. I think very notable. I was in some conversation with folks who are wondering, does this mean the U.S. when he says we? Well, he thanks American warriors in this, saying that no other military in the world could have done this. Some other things I think very much worth emphasizing here, Jessica, is he says that the bombs were dropped on.
Wait a second. Did he just say he was afraid to go to New York? Is that what he said? Is that what he said? Oh, no. Sorry. I jumped back way too far. Sorry about that. Let's go back to this. Sorry. That was my fault. My fault. Let's continue.
It is a tremendously important choke point that Iran stated they would start mining if they were attacked. Look, the calculation here is simple. As I said, either the Trump generals are correct and Iran will behave in the same fucking way that they did after the Qasem Soleimani assassination, but this is a severe escalation beyond that. This is exactly what Israel did to the Palestinians for 75 fucking years, basically. Not in the same severity, obviously, but like this is a show of force that says, you will not negotiate with us. We will not negotiate with you as even partners. We are here to dominate you.
None of that's true. Like literally not a single sentence that he just spoke was true. That is not how the Israelis dealt with the Palestinians. They made multiple deals with the Palestinians, tried to, in order to get them to knock off their garbage, and they didn't want to do that. So that's not true. Secondly, we've also tried to work with them multiple times, and there have actually been multiple deals. They weren't living up to those deals, and they were continuing doing what they want, so we got out of those deals. So, no, it's not even remotely the same, and it is in escalation, no doubt about it, to bomb 3 of their nuclear sites back into the Stone Age with 125 now aircraft that were involved.
Just as the Abraham Accords basically proved to the Palestinian population that there was no other way out of this, that they were backed into a corner and they had to fight their way out of it. This is another escalation.
That the Abraham Accords signaled to the Palestinians that they had to fight their way out. Here he is justifying wild. He is justifying going and doing what happened on October 7th. That's what he just did there. Oh boy.
From the American government and the Israeli government, that their goal here is complete subservience from the Iranian government. They are no longer a sovereign nation from this point on, is basically what they are saying. They have their airspace. They fucking use the diplomatic talks as a cover, as a protective cover to basically blow up these facilities. Now, we don't know.
That strike. The question, as you said, how many runs did it take? Were they able to destroy it completely? We don't know that yet. We don't have that battle damage.
Yeah, we don't know if they actually were successful. But
the Natanz facility, according to the IAEA and others, that was damaged by Israeli authorities. That was damaged early on in Israel's actions against Iran. The exact level of damage was not clear. There were some initial reports that perhaps the damage was worse than it actually was. The electrical supply to the centrifuges at the Natanz facility were cut. That electrical supply was cut. I spoke to the head of the IAEA who said he believed that would have caused some of the centrifuges in that Natanz facility to spin out of control and probably go offline and be damaged. But again, it seemed like Fordo had not really been directly hit as far as we know.
That's right. The Israelis had primarily focused their attention on the Natanz facility. We know that they had done extensive damage to the above-ground facilities, some damage to the below-ground facilities, and then as well, some damage to Isfahan as well, although they left a lot of that untouched. Some of that, according to experts who I've spoken to, may stem from the risk of radiation that could...
Heavy GPS jamming and disruptions are being recorded right now throughout Iran and across other areas of the Middle East, likely part of tonight's U.S. strikes against Iranian nuclear facilities, as well as the preparations for a possible response by Iran.
Not a surprise. That's exactly what they should have done if they were going to go in and hit them. And that's exactly what they did do. They went in and they hit them and they took them out. And they did a good job. Extreme damage, according to the Pentagon. But again, grain of salt on that one.
U.S. from Phil Stewart, national security reporter for Reuters. U.S. B-2 bombers were involved in strikes on Iran's nuclear sites. U.S. official tells Reuters. This is the liberal media talking about this, by the way.
The mother of all bombs, which is in Afghanistan. That bomb is actually not...
What should the liberal media be saying about this? What exactly should they be mad about this? Should they'll get there. Don't get me wrong. Today, they were trying to grill Marco Rubio about foreign policy and embarrassing themselves. But at this particular point in time, it's all just about waiting to see what Iran is going to do. Because this is about that. Now, there's some question about them closing the strait there and how that will affect oil prices and whatnot around the globe. But that's what the wait is for at this point. What do you want the liberal media to do? They're reporting what's happening right now.
Not the mother of all bombs if you consider the GBU-57, because it is smaller than this 30,000-pound bunker-busting bomb, which would, every expert has said, would be the bomb that you would use for the Fordo facility. At this stage, we don't know
what
that
will
they
China
have
and Russia
actually,
do now? I mean,
it
is the fact that this happened probably means that China and Russia,
the weapon of choice.
maybe I'm wrong, but the fact that this happened feels as though China and Russia allowed it to happen,
Yes.
if that makes sense.
Exactly right. Exactly 100% right.
Like, I don't... If they saw Iran as a valuable partner, a valuable enough ally, I doubt that they would fucking allow Iran to get bombed. They would probably intervene far before this took place. If that makes sense. Like, I don't think America can move B-2 bombers into Iran and fly over Iranian airspace and blow up Iran when there are Chinese assets in Iran.
No, that's absolutely incorrect. We can probably do anything we want. There may be some diplomatic side, but that is the thing you're missing here. Even China and Russia are like, yeah, they probably shouldn't have a nuke. We're not okay with them having a nuke, and so those are their allies, and their allies, and I allies put that in quotes, don't really want them to have those nukes either. You should understand that. That's the story here.
Russian assets in Iran. Well, notice they didn't actually bomb the fucking Russian facility. The Russian nuclear facility was untouched.
We're not going to bomb Russians.
They will intervene now. I think it took everyone by surprise. It took everyone by surprise. So why is a fucking dumbass 33-year-old Twitch streamer who is simply looking at the readily available reporting on it telling you that it was going to happen literally this weekend, because I read Seymour Hersh's reporting on it, which was almost entirely correct?
The reason they got it wrong is because you just guessed and you happened to be right. I mean, that's what happened. You guessed and you were right. That happens sometimes. That doesn't give you any particular insight. You're also the same guy, and a lot of people don't know this, who said that there was no way Russia would ever go into Ukraine. And that's a big part of your lore at this point. And they did. And they still are there, actually.
There is no world in which, if I am speculating on something and telling you that this assessment has a high likelihood that the fucking Chinese state is oblivious to that reality, or rather, the Russian state is oblivious to that reality. That's not how states work. Many of you don't understand that, like, states literally engage in deconfliction when they literally do war with one another even. Okay, they communicate flights to one another. I'm not saying that the B-2 bombers were communicated ahead of time to Russia and China, but I would be shocked if they didn't. You did just say that on Thursday. Dumb shit, fuck. My whole point is, first of all, there is no congressional approval. They are basically fucking behaving as though if it's a bombing campaign, it doesn't require, like just with Yemen, just like Yemen, if it's a bombing campaign, it doesn't require congressional approval. Is like the modus operandi now, okay? This has been calcified as a fixture of American foreign policy, okay? Congressional approval basically is negligible and not necessary when it comes to bombing campaigns. At most, if you want to do probably like a full-blown boots on the ground military campaign, then you have to maybe say like, oh, there's going to be a special military operation, not a full-blown invasion. And then maybe you can exhaust the legal limitations once again.
You can do military activity without there being a declaration of war. I think that's what you're trying to get at, and you're right. That's exactly correct. You do not need a full-blown declaration of war in order to do military operations, be they defensive or whatever. You do not need it, and he is right there. Now, I guarantee you, he will he will find a different position over the next couple of days, as AOC and others are suggesting this is an impeachable offense, which it obviously is not.
This is a severe escalation. This is a severe escalation, an act of aggression against a sovereign state, directly going to war with Iran, specifically at the behest of Israeli leadership and Israeli advice.
Who have you seen coming in and out of the White House?
In the Syrian civil war, Russian and American air forces communicated their flight paths with one another to make sure no accidental shoot down of the other. This is something that the great powers did since the Cold War to prevent escalation of nuclear war. Exactly. America does not give a fuck about anything, dude. We do not care about anything. We are so fucking awful. We are so goddamn awful. It is crazy.
Yeah, because we took some madmen and said, don't get nukes. That's how awful we are. That is the depiction of how awful America is. A terrorist state that has been funding proxies all over the Middle East to attack our allies and to attack our soldiers. And it's just wild that this guy would believe that America is the big bad here. He is so mad about this. I'd be mad too if my friends were getting bombed, I guess.
Fuck the Constitution, fuck international law. We designed it. We can break it if we want to, and you can't do a damn thing about it. That is precisely what's going on here. Now we wait for the fucking retaliation. Will Iran actually pull a post-Qasem Soleimani assassination? And their response is entirely so limited that it's basically nothing. It's negligible.
Yes, that's exactly what they will do. They're getting their skulls kicked in by a country the size of New Jersey. You think they're coming after the big Satan? Give me a break. Give me a break. I mean, it's absolutely asinine to believe. It is asinine to believe that that's what they're going to do. They'll use more proxies, but Israel took out all their proxies. That's what makes this even possible.
Or will they actually retaliate with severe force, basically saying it's over, it's all systems go. We're going to fucking blow up every American base with ballistic missiles. We're going to mine the Strait of Hormuz. We're going to disrupt commercial sea traffic. And this is their final step this is their final desperate last-ditch attempt at sovereignty.
Which one do you think Hasan Piker and those on the left would like to see? I mean, honestly, it's a serious question. Which one of those things do you think they'd like to see the most? A limited response that's just a little show of, hey, we're still around for the people inside their country? Or do you think he'd like to see ballistic missiles headed towards military installations near Iran within their reach? I think I know which one he'd want. I think I know which one most Democrats in this country would want. They would love America to get a big black eye. These are the same people. I'm not saying modern Democrats or even a majority of Democrats, but the people who are Hasan Piker fans who say that America deserved 9/11. I think he'd be in favor of a similar thing. And I think earlier he said he's afraid to go to New York because of this. That is not going to happen.
The problem with the final last-ditch attempt at sovereignty is that it most likely will lead to extended conflict with America and with Israel, and it will most likely lead to the inevitable demise of the country that we know, the United States of America, if it goes in that direction, and it will be used as a proxy by China and Russia if they are clever enough to extend that conflict in the same way that America was using Ukraine against Russia.
Holy cow. So if they're smart, they will end America through the conflict with Iran. Because if Russia and China are smart, they will utilize Iran. They will use them as a proxy, feeding them weapons and money in order to fight the United States of America and end it. So the end of the war, make sure I get this, America is going to end because of a war with Iran. I don't think that seems very likely.
The difference, of course, between Ukraine and Iran is that Iran has designed its entire society to withstand this kind of thing if push came to shove. They've never used it, and I don't even know if push comes to shove, they will be able to use it, but we shall see what happens. Trump just tweeted a fucking OSINT account. Fordow is gone, says open source intel.
Let me ask you.
This is so stupid. I'm sorry.
We'll come back to that in a second, but what have they built? They attempted to build nuke sites in order to do what you're just saying, but those are gone. Fordow is gone. So that's not accurate. And will they be able to survive it? It doesn't look like it.
Sorry, what the fuck? I can't take this seriously. Open source intelligence, the OSINT 613 account doesn't know if fucking Fordow was actually gone.
Well, you can anticipate that every intelligence gathering...
Like, what are we talking? What is this? Why is he fucking posting this? Does this mean he directly is saying that Fordow is gone? You are the fucking president, man. What the fuck is going on?
damage has been done.
I don't know if this is a retruth because he is saying, yes, I saw it, or if he's just simply a fucking moron and is retweeting an Ozen account to flex. I don't know. I don't even know if they have the capability of knowing if fucking Fordow is gone. How would they be able to know if Fordow was gone? Even Americans. Do they have the surveillance technology to figure out? Like, did they monitor the fucking crater? How would they even figure out? It's in the side of a goddamn mountain.
He's spinning out. He's spinning out. It's becoming real to him. His friends are under attack, and they took a hit. They're not going to be allowed to have nukes anymore. He's very upset. He's probably upset they're not going to be able to help Hamas much either. Not that the Hamas has been having a good time lately. Keep in mind, Hamas completely skull drug through their situation, and they are in really bad shape. Yeah, they're still around. They're still doing their thing, but they've been limited significantly. Basically, the only reason they still exist is because they're holding hostages, which is why they're continuing to hold them. Hezbollah has taken a beating, hasn't done anything in response here. Maybe there's some sort of Iranian response on Israel that involves those factors. I don't know. But we're almost at 24 hours and we haven't really seen much. Good Lord.
Intercepting, whether it's voice, get some sense of what happened down there. But you're absolutely right. You probably will only get a 10% answer to that question. I would not want to be the targeteers and the bomb damage assessment teams that now have to turn to the president and say, we got it, we didn't get it, or we didn't get it enough.
What?
Likely there will be a need for a reattack.
What? Iranian TV saying no attack has been done. No one in Qom or Isfahan reported hearing anything. What the fuck is going on? All the Iranian...
Hasan, they lie. I mean, yes, all governments do propaganda, but they're under attack and losing. They're trying to basically make the argument that all is well, all is good. Do you not remember Baghdad Bob? Not remember that?
Iranian media is sleeping right now. Okay, what about Fordo though? I mean, I know that that's like far away.
And why is he? Like, I mean, is he hoping Fordo's okay? Is that it? You're hoping it's all right? I mean, again, he's hoping that the Iranian military is able to continue making uranium. I mean, is that what it is, or enriching uranium? Excuse me. Is that what is he pulling for? Oh wait, yeah, he is. He's pulling for Iran.
The only way to possibly figure out, and this is, I mean, Fordow is the enrichment facility. Okay, Fordow is the enrichment facility. So I assume that if it was like a successful strike, maybe there would be radiation, right? Iranian Twitter is saying they cannot confirm the attacks. There is no confirmed information yet regarding the nuclear facilities, which are subject to tight security and media protection. Weak communications do not necessarily mean the attack was successful, and we're working to verify the details as quickly as possible. Okay, that's a little different. That doesn't mean that it didn't happen. There are 40,000 U.S. troops in the Middle East right now, and any lingering faith that Iran plus allies in Iraq, Yemen, etc. had in Trump's deal-making instincts is now shattered. Hard to see Tehran agreeing with Trump that peace will now come. More likely, they perceive an all-out war for regime survival. What is happening?
What is happening? I'll tell you, since you're confused. Iran has been funding terror campaigns across the Middle East for the last, 40 years. And they finally went too far on October 7th. And Israel started kicking their ass. And then they got close to enriching enough uranium to make a tactical nuke. And America is kicking their ass. This is not complex stuff.
Happening. Dude, I'm in Iran. TV says they don't know yet. So people in Iran have internet right now, I assume. Trump set to address later. Trump's Truth Social account has been disabled. What the fuck is going on, bro?
I saw this earlier. He's about to go crazy. He's about to go crazy about this, and then he'll realize that it's down because so many people are checking it out. It is rather comical. It is really, really, really, really comical.
CNN brings on a guest to say he's impressed with Trump's use of deception and trickery. Liberal media, by the way.
Of this announcement by the president and the decision to act now.
Well, I'm fascinated, and candidly, I'm impressed. I never really could understand what the 2 week
monsters, bro. These guys are fucking freaks. Wait, so they might not have even hit the fucking facilities. What is happening? It's got to be
now. He's hope casting. This guy is having a manic episode, and I love it. I absolutely love it. I love I love this. Oh man, it's even better than I thought.
No. Trump's account is not. Let me tell you something. Trump's account is most likely not fucking down. What's most likely happening is because because Truth Social is a dog shit fucking website, when Donald Trump announces a nuclear facility strike and a first strike against Iran from the American government, of course, a fuck ton of people clicked on to confirm, and it basically destroyed the whole website. It most likely destroyed Trump's account. It's doing most likely like a fucking hug of death.
It's
because their website is dog shit. Because everything Trump does is dog shit. Everything.
Pick up that
This
W.
is most likely a hug of death that is happening. See, as a consequence of people clicking on the fucking account over and over again. Confirmation via Iranian sources. A U.S. official said on condition of anonymity, given the sensitive nature of the information, that multiple B-2 bombers carried out the strikes against 3 nuclear sites. The White House alerted television networks that the president was expected to address the nation later. The Fordo site was first revealed to the world in 2009. Okay, that's... Defense Department officials said on condition of anonymity, given the sensitive nature of the information, that a number of American B-2 bombers were used to hit Fordo. The bombers can carry the needed 30,000. I will be giving an address to the nation at 10 p.m. at the White House. That is in 2 hours. Regarding our very successful military operation in Iran. This is a historic moment for the United States of America, Israel, and the world. Iran must now agree to end this war. Thank you. This is what Trump said. The bombers can carry out the needed 30,000-pound bunker buster bombs that can penetrate into Fordo. It was not immediately clear whether other American warplanes were using the strikes. 3 senior Iranian officials...
Someone in the chat is asking, Derek is asking about, is there a number where you can turn this guy? Look, the fact that this guy exists on like Twitch, I guess this is where, Twitch is where this is pretty amazing. Is it material support to terrorists? I don't know. But I'm guessing if you asked him, would you like to give material support to terrorists? He'd say yes. I mean, just to be honest with you, but I mean, he's got 50,000 people watching him right now. 1.7 million people saw this. I think more people need to see this guy personally.
Speaking on the condition of anonymity because they were not authorized to speak publicly.
And yes, people are asking. I've sped it up because he doesn't say anything. He sits for long periods of silence.
That they believed Americans had bombed Fordo and Natanz at around 2:30 a.m. in Iran. Fordo is right near Qom. Here's an Iranian journalist an hour ago. At least 2 explosions heard in Qom.
Sinking
I'm in a clubhouse room right now, and there are a bunch of people living in the city of Qom closest to Fordo. They're saying that they haven't heard anything.
He believes that nothing's happened because the Iranians aren't posting. Look at all these explosions. It's crazy.
Breaking. Iranian media claimed that the U.S. targeted Fordo with dozens of bunker busting munitions. Israeli media state that B-2 bombers dropped GBU-57s. No confirmation of the extent of the damage. Holy fuck, dude. Okay. What an insane...
So Iran has confirmed it at this point. This is from last night for those who just jumping in here. This is from last night. So he's starting to realize it, and he's about to spin out.
Situation. I cannot believe that we are... I mean, given how stupid things are, of course it is expected that this would unfold in real time in the exact idiotic ways that it did. Sky News.
American diplomats and their families who wish to get out the area. Everyone has been put on high alert. There are a lot of American troops stationed throughout the region, not least in Iran, where there are a lot of pro-Iranian militias, and also inside Syria. Syria obviously is more benign territory, but it doesn't mean that there aren't bad actors there, and that will be of concern as well. Diplomatic, military, and civilian ties. And of course, the State Department have been advising any American citizen to get out of Iran. That will also prove extremely difficult at the moment.
It'll be very interesting to see if they do respond actually in any real way, because they're dealing with Donald Trump, and if they respond in any serious way, Donald Trump is gonna respond in a pretty negative way to that, obviously. So I'm assuming that'll help them decide how they're going to respond to this.
But certainly, I would say in terms of foreign policy, this is the most important, most significant moment of President Trump's second term. Whit?
Ian, panel for us, thank you very much. We're going to bring in our Louis Martinez, who's joining us now, covers the Pentagon. And Louis, you're on the phone, I believe, with us. And one thing I just wanted to ask you about, because we were getting these reports from flight tracker sites earlier that these B-2 bombers were on the move. We thought that they were moving, according to sources, toward Guam. What do we know about what may have changed in that plan? And was this part of some sort of diversion, or what was it that led to this move tonight?
These are all great questions we're trying to get to and get a real good handle on it. But you're exactly right. This is a very public tracking on flight tracker websites, on radio communications from air traffic controllers that indicated that these B-2s had left their base in Whiteman, Missouri, and were bound westward. We talked to officials who told us that, yes, the bombers were headed to Anderson Air Force Base in Guam, which is a place that they've deployed from previously. But that there were no...
That was part of the rope-a-dope. I mean, he rope-a-doped everyone a couple weeks ago with the whole, I don't think we're going to go ahead and tell them what's going on. I don't think we're going to tell them that stuff. Instead, we're going to tell them we're having negotiations. Don't do anything. Well, giving the wink, wink, nod to Israel to go ahead and start their attacks. So yeah, that was all theater. That was all theater, and plays over.
No further orders. So the question is, were these B-2s allowed to continue on towards Iran and striking some of these targets? Were they not used? What other kind of assets may have been used? One of the things that I think that has been lost here over the last week or so is that the United States has had a very strong military aerial presence in the region already. We knew that additional fighters and bombers had been surged into the area, but those aircraft are very capable of dropping.
Including the one where he announced that this had happened in the last 15, latest one.
Well, as you said, he has announced he will address the nation at 10 p.m. tonight, so that's in 2 hours' time, just under 2 hours' time. He says, I will be giving an address to the nation at 10 p.m. at the White House regarding our very successful military operation in Iran. This is an historic moment, capital letters, an historic moment for the United States of America, Israel, and the world. Iran must now agree to end this war. Thank you. So 2 hours before he gives...
He said, thank you for your attention to this matter, which is a very funny way to end we're blowing shit up. Pretty funny.
What I imagine will be an Oval Office address to the nation. Very unusual for an address to the nation to come so late in the day and at the weekend. When presidents tend to do this, it's usually earlier on in the evening, hitting prime time, 6 p.m. or so. But a 10 p.m. address to the nation.
Yeah, but that's what happens when you have a president that has to go to bed at 6 o'clock. So just keep that in mind.
We also know that the House, the Speaker of the House, and
look, the only other possible outcome, as that Twitter guy was also saying, is that they actually did not successfully hit the facility. Like they did not reach the facility, given how deep it is. And therefore, therefore, the Iranian retaliation will still be severe, I suspect, but not as severe as like all-out war. So we shall see.
Yeah, and this was.
Yeah, I don't think that's really going to matter. If they find out they did not hit it, they are just going to hit it again. This wasn't like, oh, well, those are the only bombs we got. I guess that's the end of it. That's not how this thing is going to work. So that's a terrible take.
A question that was raised when I was having these conversations in Israel today with Israeli officials. They said that one of the things that Donald Trump would be asking was, what does the next day look like? What does tomorrow look like? What does it look like in a week's
time? International Atomic Energy Agency is in Tehran that probably see radiation on site if strike was successful.
Some kind of prolonged situation. So as you say, and as Ali's
do you think this would have happened if Trump wasn't elected? Not that it matters because Donald Trump is currently the president, but yes, I do think it would have happened if Trump wasn't elected as well. If you think that the Democrats would be any different right now than the Trump administration, then you're not paying attention to what the fucking Democrats have been saying so far.
I love this. I love the Democrats aren't weak enough. They got to be weaker. Yeah, Kamala Harris would have done the exact same thing. Joe Biden gave them a ton of money and said, do whatever you want, go crazy, and let them do whatever they want. Give me a break. Oh, it would be exactly the same. Yes. And by the way, in the mind of this guy, Hasan Piker, a leftist streamer who we're watching him watch the attacks last night and the news of that slowly trickling out live as it was, he thinks the Democrats aren't pansies enough. That's sort of his whole take on this. His whole take is that they're not weak enough. Okay, that's an interesting one, but all right.
Now, once all of these events unfold and we see the negative consequences of it, the Democrats might finally change their fucking tune. But leading up to this very moment, the Democrats have been lockstep, have not actually moved away from criticizing Donald Trump. And the only time where they've offered criticisms to Donald Trump is when they're actually saying they would bomb Iran harder.
Who is that? Who's doing that? No one's doing that. That's just made up. Again, that's just made up stuff. Wild. And if you're looking at his chat, which there's no reason for you to do that, but I can see it here on my other screen a little better. Bunch of people in his chat talking about how Trump's taco. I guess we're still doing that. Yeah, they cannot meme. But they're going crazy about like taco Trump. Well, he didn't taco on this one.
And this is not just the words of Kamala Harris saying that Iran is the biggest enemy, that she would be harder on Iran than Donald Trump, or that how she wanted to have the most lethal military. This is not just what they've said during the campaign. This is not how they set the stage for this to take place. This is because of what the Democrats are saying currently. The Democrats are currently saying, the highest level Democrats in Congress right now are currently saying that Donald Trump has the right to do this. They should just do it the legal way by getting congressional authorization. That is basically a demand for rubber stamping this and doing it the legal process. That is not a criticism of Donald Trump doing this at all. At most, if you hear in the upcoming days, if you hear from Democrats, they will probably say, depending on the impact, depending on the retaliation, you will probably hear them yell about how Donald Trump did not fucking follow process. That's not the real criticism here. The process is only important because you're supposed to use the process to stand in opposition to Donald Trump, and you're not supposed to give him the congressional authorization. Donald Trump went ahead and did it anyway, without congressional authorization. I built a live viewer of satellite virus, thermal hotspots, and fire activity in KCP hotspots all over Iran. I can get you a web map of the specific data if you want to look. if Dems had control of executive and Congress, don't you think they would try to reinstate the JCPOA? We had a Democratic president for 12 hours since Fordo's opening.
Pretty wild. This is the idea here that if Democrats were in power, none of this would have happened from his listeners. He doesn't buy it. He's wrong. None of this would be happening if Democrats were in power. They would continue enriching uranium, and we would hope that Israel would take care of business. But I don't think have the technology in order to do that. Only we do.
And no bombing ever happened then. Not running D for the Ds, but do I feel like this degree of escalation could only ever happen under Donald Trump? Joe Biden was the president. Joe Biden was the president and chose not to reinstate the JCPOA.
It's interesting. It's an interesting theory. It really is. Like this idea that Democrats were tough on Iran all of a sudden. Are they really going to make that argument? I don't think so, because today what we've seen is calls for impeachment, talk about War Powers Act and stuff like this. It really is strange to see that sort of be the thing that comes out. Now, again, this is an idiot talking to other idiots, but don't think that they're not important to the process. Again, this video had like 1.8 million, 1.7 million views. He streams like 50,000 people at a time. I mean, this is not some small time nobody.
And instead, what Joe Biden did was, instead of reinstating the JCPOA, what he did was full tilt genocide and set the stage for Donald Trump to be able to do this. That's why Brett McGurk.
Holy cow. Joe Biden went full tilt genocide. I forgot about that. They were calling Joe Biden Genocide Joe because he didn't rein in the Israelis. I forgot about that. I forgot that was one of their silly little criticisms, but it absolutely was. So yeah, that's a okay. All right, yeah, I'll listen to that point. I'll understand that. Okay, yeah, that's okay. Genocide Joe, all that.
McGurk has been Joe Biden's architect in the Middle East. What Brett McGurk has been saying on CNN 24/7 is basically how fucking awesome this stuff is that Trump is doing. Israel's Channel 12 is showing images from what they say is Fort Al. The vegetation in the image does seem to match the area around the site. Apparent footage from Iran, according to N12 News. I don't know if this is real. We would not be at this terrifying moment without Biden and his team emboldening Netanyahu beyond even Israel's expectations in Gaza and Lebanon abandoning hopes of a renewed nuclear deal and fracturing their voting coalition, a team that promised stability brought huge danger. This assessment is correct.
It is, and I keep on saying it can go one of two ways.
Not that it matters right now, guys. It doesn't matter currently. Okay, it doesn't matter what. It does not fucking matter what Kamala Harris would have done if she was president right now. It literally doesn't, because Donald Trump is the president and he did this. Okay.
All right. Yeah, I agree with that.
The Iranian regime.
But as you know, if you fucking come to me and you ask me a question such as this one, I'm probably going to be honest with you.
They will be aware. They will be aware of the pounding they've taken over the last week and a bit, and they will be aware of the huge risks of getting into a big war with America now. And so I think there is, and we have seen it before in the last couple of years, I think there is a scenario whereby, not necessarily coordination, but they maybe even take a little bit of time and they make sure
some dude on Twitter saw two B-2s flying east over his house in Missouri last night, Lamau, the only one who saw the real strike
package. Way that it is very much signaling an off-ramp rather than an escalation. Now, there is, of course, another scenario, a real scenario, that they say we're going to widen this conflict. I'm not sure how it...
Yes, never forget, Cy Hirsch. Papa Hirsch was right, unfortunately. But he was 100% correct in his reporting.
Example, he's suddenly start to really disrupt the global economy. They could...
Brett McGurk on CNN endorsing it? Oh, fuck me. Well, this will perhaps completely put to bed the notion that the Democrats would be behaving differently right now. Brett McGurk is Joe Biden's own Middle East guy, his envoy, okay? Is this fucking effing? What's happening right now? And he's on CNN. Let's see.
Regional leaders and to Iran that this is it. This is about the nuclear program. This is not an expanded campaign. They still want to get back to the path of a diplomatic arrangement, which has been on the table for some time. So that is the message I think we're likely to hear from the president at 10 o'clock. They are prepared for a potential Iranian response. I would put it in three categories. We know them well: missiles, militias, and terrorism, or hostage taking. But I think we have, as I understand it, posted a warning to Iran not to think about that. And if they do, we would have a counter, trying to avoid going up that ladder. There will be a lot of diplomacy here tonight. It's ongoing right now.
What diplomacy?
Iran, this is about
what are you talking about?
It does not go on from here.
Am I crazy? Have I lost my mind? Am I?
A little bit. You've kind of lost the plot there. Yeah, a little bit. But yeah. What diplomacy? What diplomacy?
The crazy one? What do you mean diplomacy? Oh, I can't wait to do diplomacy. This is a great opportunity for diplomacy. That's the dumb fuck shit that Trump is saying. What do you mean? You're supposed to be the fucking serious party. You guys.
Here's what they mean. What they mean is they've dropped bombs on your ass, and you now need to realize that you're not going to be able to do anything else. You realize we control the skies, and we can hit you wherever we want to. You're getting destroyed, and I keep mentioning this, by a country the size of New Jersey, and your attempts to hit them are, more effective than they've been in the past, but you're just firing rockets towards civilians. But they're continuing to have the military superiority. And if you don't think America is going to have that over you, you're crazy. Oh, Iran has a massive military. Okay. For how long? Oh, just checking.
You guys are supposed to be the Harvard-educated foreign policy advisors.
Fluidity today, everybody talking back channels. I was talking to a lot of my former counterparts, trying to find some opening and press upon Iran. Like, look, guys, agree to sit with the Americans and sit down on the deal that they presented 6 weeks ago, and there was just no opening from the Iranians. So in any case,
I can't believe
we'll
this
see
is
more
what fucking
tonight.
bullshit we were watching when America struck Iran too.
Down to the T. I'm
He was watching some guy play the guitar. They were talking about Israel and Gaza, and that's what they were trying to watch, and then this all happened.
Confident it was quite successful on those 3 sites. But in any case, the message now going out is that this is it, and this can be the ceiling of this escalation, and try to get a deal. I'll say one more thing, Anderson. You mentioned last night's a little counterintuitive, but there are talks ongoing. Hamas is sending a delegation to Cairo to talk about a ceasefire in Gaza, which is extraordinary in the backdrop of this arrangement. And those who are working on that believe there might be an opening to actually get a ceasefire in Gaza, which is desperately needed. So there's some hope here, some hope. That this
is my least favorite type of "I told you so" coverage, where like
some de-escalation on the
where the goal here is not to take out Iran's nuclear enrichment facilities. The goal here is to have a either completely non-sovereign, completely servile state, or most likely it's not even that. It's just regime change. And if you can't do,
I mean, they're sort of going around the Middle East and causing terror and havoc everywhere. There's a reason why you're not hearing anything from Qatar, Saudi Arabia, UAE. There's a reason why you're not hearing any of that. They're all just like, no, take care of them. Who cares? And you're pretending this is like a catastrophic thing, but it's wild that you don't seem to understand why they're doing this.
Regime change, then complete destabilization of Iran, a country with 92 million people in it. Oh my fucking Lord.
So again, Iran can do missiles, militias, terrorism. We know what they try to do. They are incredibly degraded from what we had assumed, but we have to see where this goes. But I just wanted, that's what I've heard from senior officials involved in this. Those are the messages going out to the Iranians and to regional officials, and I think we'll hear more later tonight.
Now, as of today, there's some reporting that says Iran is in pretty bad shape, and they're going to try to figure out a way to respond without giving up the whole thing, and they're going to try to make that work. Also, that I guess the Iranian foreign minister is going to meet with Putin, and they're going to try to have a conversation with them, and if they can do that, maybe they can try to fix things, but it doesn't look very likely that they're going to be able to do that.
I just want to reiterate, I mean, you have an extraordinary record of service. You have heard from a senior official the details on this, which you've just given to us, and that the U.S. has sent the message to Iran that this is essentially one and done. No, it's no further from the U.S. as long as nothing else further on happens. Is that correct?
The objective of the mission are the 3 nuclear sites. That's the objective. And so if everything stops here, that's it. If Iran tomorrow, I don't think they will. But if tomorrow they come and say, okay, let's sit down, I think there's a path to an agreement. Look, these sites will eventually be rebuilt in some way. They can be rebuilt in a way that allows Iran to have a civil nuclear program. I do not think Iran will ever again have an enrichment program.
Fuck you, dude. Fuck you.
Iran we have today, they have no air defense. And
why are you upset about that? Like, why is he upset about that? Why? He's mad that they're not going to get a nuclear program? Guys, that's sort of the whole plan here. That's pretty funny.
I doubt the Israelis are going to permit the Iranians to rebuild an air defense network. So it's just a totally different Middle East than we have assumed even 2 years ago. But Iran has capabilities. It's missiles, militias, terrorism. And they're going to have some choices to make, Anderson. But bottom line, yes, that is a message going out tonight diplomatically, trying to say this is what this is about. This is not about regime change. Again, something you and I have been talking about. This is not about regime change. It's about your nuclear facilities. Should have taken the deal. You didn't. This is where we are. It can stop here or it can escalate. And the objective through that diplomacy is not to go up that escalation ladder, to try to stop it here. But, you know, this is an incredibly serious moment. I think that diplomacy has to be active, engaged from all sides, our allies, our partners, even those who might not agree with this decision, trying to ensure we do not go up that ladder. But if we do, I'm fairly confident that, you know, CENTCOM has prepared our own counters should that happen.
Yeah, he's upset about this because his friends are being bombed. So he had to cut him a little bit of slack. But just keep in mind, this guy has massive viewership. There are minds being rotted by this every single day. You think that brain rot stuff your kids are watching on YouTube is bad? This is worse for them.
Brett, use your judgment on what you can't say, but I just want to ask, how confident can U.S. officials be, Air Force, everybody else, be about the level of damage is sufficient enough, particularly at the Fordo facility? Are they able to do real-time assessments of, or does that require, repositioning satellites, and that's going to take some time before there's an accurate sense of how damaged these facilities are based on this new attack?
One thing I'd say about this operation, we know a lot about it. So this is not like a new situation, a new target. I don't want to say too much, but I think our commanders, they knew exactly what to target, what to hit, and the pilots. So that's
because this has been going on forever. That's part of the thing. This issue has existed for a very long time, and it just got to the point where it was untenable because they were enriching enough uranium to have massive problems. So yeah, I think there's probably a lot of intel on.
That's one thing. But yes, there will be, over the coming hours, as light comes up, there will be damage assessments to determine the success. But I think right now they believe it was very successful based upon what was practiced and rehearsed over many years. After, the massive ordnance penetrator is a munition that back in the Obama administration used to be discussed a lot as we have that option should it ever come to that.
Israeli Air Force is not going mobile?
But this is a military mission that has been honed across administrations with the hope that it would never have to be used. Now, tonight it has been used, but this is something that has been rehearsed, practiced for years across presidencies. So I think they knew exactly what they were doing and feel good about the results. But I think, yeah, they will do an assessment probably tomorrow, over the coming days, make sure. If you have to go back and hit again, something else, that I've been involved in that in the past, that could be a possibility. But again, the message here going out to the region and to Iran, this is about the nuclear facilities. This is not an expanded mission set. That's what this is about. And it can
the reason why he's even entertaining the notion of second strikes, yeah, the video is old. It's not forward out. Despite what many accounts are now claiming, this video is old and not from tonight's U.S. strikes against the Fordow nuclear facility, nor any of the strikes tonight against Iran. But that doesn't mean that Fordow hasn't been struck. But as it stands currently, we don't know how deep the penetration was. We don't know what kind of damage the nuclear facility took. Okay?
You guys might be okay, Hasan.
We don't know that. We do not know.
Be all right.
This is an important part of the calculation to make assessments on what the Iranian retaliation is going to look like. Okay? That's what's important. I mean, there's a million different things happening right now, but we do not know. We do not fucking know what Iran will do in retaliation. They said Fordow is not burning as of now. Here are all fire signatures on Earth by NASA firms. Yeah. Also, notice how Brett McGurk goes, oh, it's about nuclear sites, but also Israel won't allow them to rebuild their air defenses. Yeah, it's about not having sovereignty. That's what it is. That is precisely the reason why they wanted to take out the.
They're a terrorist state. What are you talking about? They've given up their ability to be a nice player in the world. Why do you find that so complicated to understand?
Nuclear facilities, not because they're terrified of a fucking nuke that Iran might get. Or
they absolutely are terrified of a nuke that they might get. You know why? Because they said they'll use the nuke. That's why. So they're afraid of it. Israel doesn't have to allow them to get it because they know it's going to be used against them.
Iran has, or whatever the fuck Israel is claiming. It's about not allowing there to be a sovereign Iranian state. They will either.
Why though? Why? Why is that?
Or immediately try to implement a puppet state that will be incredibly unpopular and people will resist against it, or they will just destabilize it and turn it into a fucking fail state. That narrative of Israeli Special Forces raiding Fordow was the most obvious fictional narrative I've ever heard, but at least now I know it was almost certainly just a bait to get as many on-the-ground soldiers in the facilities before the U.S. bombed them, probably spread by Israel to try and maximize the response from the Iranian side and bait the U.S. into further conflict.
Oh, wow. So there was a play here to trick them into putting soldiers inside these sites. So when the Americans hit them, more people die. Damn. Cold-blooded. Cold-blooded. Not
Iranian
right.
official? Wait, is this actually fucking from an Iranian official, or is this just like some dumb fuck account?
He's so mad.
Breaking. Islamic Republic of Iran state media says the 3 nuclear sites bombed by the United States had personnel evacuated some time ago. They already moved the enriched uranium from Fordow as well to a secret facility. They had already covered that, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Here is what the Senate Majority Leader John Thune said. The regime in Iran.
By the way, so let me see if I understand this correctly. Was this some random guy? Was this some guy on Twitter? Oh, okay. So I'll read it. Yeah, they've gotten all the enriched uranium out of there, and they've gotten all the people out. They were just empty sites, nothing to see there. Again, why in the world does this guy want Iran to have nukes? Why? Can someone explain that to me?
Iran, which has committed itself to bringing death to America and wiping Israel off the map, has rejected all diplomatic pathways. What do you mean they've rejected all diplomatic pathways to peace? I'm losing my fucking mind. Yeah, I feel like these guys are just like wish casting an alternative vision of what unfolded in broad fucking daylight. And honestly, the media is going along with it. The media is not even offering even a fraction.
That is a pretty funny way to tell on yourself. That really is. I mean, that really is. I mean, it is pretty funny here that you are suggesting that people are just wish casting. Holy cow.
fraction of the fucking truth. Mainstream resources for the past week have been salivating at the prospect of American bombers doing exactly what they just did tonight. What kind of fucking insanity, what kind of insane world are we living in where mainstream resources are basically salivating, liberal, Republican alike, at the prospect of bombing a fucking sovereign nation state and its nuclear facilities while there was a denuclearization negotiation going on? And they kept saying, come on, get back to the table, as they kept bombing. Who the fuck would believe this? Who would believe this? Who would ever take mainstream resources seriously ever again? How many outlets? You guys, there's 75,000 people in here, okay? I covered extensively how these facilities were most likely going to be struck this weekend. I covered Seymour Hersh's reporting. I looked at all of this analysis. I warned against how fucking devastating this would be. How many mainstream resources did you hear this kind of information from? How many of them even had a single person this past week come out on television and say, what the fuck are we doing? What do you mean we're bombing Iran? Why is anybody fucking talking about bombing Iran? That is a whole ass different country. Did we learn nothing from Iraq? Did we learn nothing from Afghanistan? Not a single fucking outlet, not a single mainstream outlet offered even a fraction of this coverage.
Okay, well, this guy's having a meltdown here. There's a report out of Axios that Israel went after their air defenses in order to clear the way for U.S. bombers. So there's a lot of talk about that going on as well. So that's interesting. Also, we're in the fourth day of Iran's internet shutdown. So if anyone is sending things from Iran, I thought I'd go look that up, because he's talking about getting stuff out of Iran. I don't think those people are actually coming from Iran.
It is mind-boggling to me.
Which might explain why they're always like, oh, no, nothing's happening here. Nothing's happening here.
What the fuck is going on, dude? What is going on? Not a single one. At most, you heard Chris Hayes have Ro Khanna on to talk about war powers, the congressional authority to go to war, and how crazy it would be if Trump violated that. That was the maximum criticism afforded on any mainstream outlet. One piece of coverage, as opposed to literally having Brett McGurk on, which is Biden's Middle Eastern architect, for the record.
He's very upset that Cy Hirsch was not on board because Cy Hirsch said something he agreed with. That's essentially it. That's all. That's all this rant is about.
Was perhaps most responsible in the Biden admin for the genocide in Gaza, constantly salivating at the prospect of doing exactly what just happened. And now I got people asking me if we're going to get nuked. Iran literally doesn't have nukes. People literally think we're going to get nuked. This is why I said if Iran had nukes, this wouldn't be happening for the rest.
Jesus. That's the whole point, dumbass. I mean, that's literally the entire point, is that they not get nukes, because if it did, this wouldn't be happening, because you'd have to deal with a nuclear Iran. Holy cow, what an idiot.
The record. Ironically enough. Yeah, Brett McGurk on CNN is talking about how we should run it back. Jeff Stein posting and then deleting every single thing that he has said in his coverage. Jeff Stein of Washington Post posting and deleting all of his tweets about Brett McGurk in real time. Oh my God. This is the most insane thing. Like, I cannot believe it. Tommy Vitor, former Obama NSC staff, National Security Council, says, Donald Trump just took us to war with Iran without explaining why it was necessary or getting authorization from Congress. He is weak and got manipulated into doing Netanyahu's dirty work. What a pathetic, lying moron. There is some truth to this assessment, by the way. It's fucking insane.
Oh, you mean the Jews made him do it? And that's it? Okay, yeah. So surprise that an Obama administration advisor is saying just that, and that you believe it.
That we literally were like, nah, we want to go to war. Israel told us we should. And it seems like it was a good idea. I wanted to do World War III because I'm bored. Only a couple months ago, Donald Trump came out and was like, listen, guys, I want to nuke global trade. Why? Because I'm fucking bored. I'm bored as shit. And I feel like nothing cool is happening.
Oh my God, he's quoting him. He's quoting Donald Trump now, and he's not at all crashing out here. It's exactly what happened. He said, I'm bored and I'd like to go nuke global trade.
Let me fucking nuke global trade. And then everybody yelled at him and turned around and said, what the fuck are you doing, moron? You have small businesses that rely on this shit, that you designed. America designed this fucking global trade to basically offer IOUs to every other country so that they can slave themselves so we can get fucking cheap commodities like $5 t-shirts from Forever 21. And then, of course, he had to slowly but surely back away from that position. But it shouldn't get to this point, okay? It should not have to get to this point. It should not have to get to a point like this. And then everybody goes, what the fuck are you doing? What are you doing? You have cognitive dissonance, dude. You're on a permanent trip. I have cognitive dissonance. I told you this was going to happen for the past fucking week.
Again, you guessed at what was going to happen, as did I, and we were both right. So congratulations on that. Your chat's attacking you because you're out of your mind.
It's not my fault that you weren't fucking paying attention. And this is perhaps the worst, most inopportune time to come in here and be like, Hasan, remember the thing that you said was going to fucking happen for weeks? Now that it finally happened, I'm still going to say you're hallucinating. Are you fucking stupid? Am I hallucinating or are you hallucinating? This is the worst time for you to come and be like, you were wrong, dude. You were so wrong. What do you mean?
What do you mean? It's 90% of his content is him saying, what do you mean? I don't understand. What do you
U.S.
mean?
is briefing troops that Iran will likely retaliate. U.S. military is now briefing troops that its strike on Iran will likely result in counterstrikes on U.S. bases and facilities in the Middle East and likely activate Iran and other foreign terrorist organizations abroad, including the U.S. to conduct strikes against U.S. persons and facilities according to briefing I obtained. Of course. I mean, that's what they're anticipating, by the way. It might not happen. Remember.
3 o'clock in the morning here in Tel Aviv. We got word. I'm joined again by Brett McGurk. Brett, just in terms of concern about U.S. forces in the region, other potential targets from Iran or their proxies, what kind of precautions do you think the U.S. has already begun to take, or would the U.S. Have begun to take in order to prepare, in order to protect their forces?
I think, Anderson, we have been for the last 8 days.
Couple of things, by the way. Just want to talk about this real quick because getting some messages here. So listen, you can't report this guy. They know that he is on Twitch and doing these things. Amazon owns that platform, by the way. It's kind of shocking that Amazon allows this to continue. I'll just be completely honest with you. That is shocking that Amazon allows this to go on their platform. It is material support to terrorists. You can tell Amazon about it, but I just don't think they're going to stop it. I think his stupidity is kind of an asset, but he is speaking to like 50,000 people right now. He also had 1.7 million people view this very thing we're watching. And keep in mind, this is 10 hours long. We're joining in hour 6, and we've almost done an hour here listening to him. So just keep that in mind. Also, some people are saying, oh, he's never been out of his mom's basement. Look, this guy makes millions of dollars. He has been out of his mom's basement. I don't know why people watch this, but they do.
Moving personnel, hardening positions, making sure air defense is in. So that has been ongoing.
Oh, and as for the speed up, I've sped him up because he spends a lot of time staying silent. That's why.
And seeing it, particularly movement from some of those facilities in the Gulf states, moving into Saudi Arabia, a little more inland. So that has been ongoing. We have in Iraq and Syria, probably it goes up and down a little bit, probably about 1,200 troops or so at positions that can be vulnerable. I have to say, though, I want to remind everybody and the viewers, after October 7th, those positions all came under attack almost every single day by Iranian-backed militias. And 3 Americans were killed at a facility in Jordan. So these militias have attacked us, and it stopped. We got a ceasefire because we did a number of things to deter further attacks. But the point, we know how to deal with that.
Yeah, Trump was elected president. That's a big part of it.
It's a risk, but it's not a new risk. I think the challenge of Iran's missile program to some of our facilities in the Gulf is real, but the Israelis have been going after those missiles in a systematic way.
Dude,
I would not discount or understate the risk at all.
Bro, go work in Israel, bro. Go fucking live in Israel. Why are you here? Why are all of these people here? You can live there. Israel loves white guys. They love them so much they let every Russian on the planet become Israelis, okay? Why don't these guys just go fucking live there? Why do they live here? Why do these guys live here and fucking act like they are living in Tel Aviv?
This is a guy who said America deserves 9/11, by the way. Not the guy on CNN. Hasan Piker said America deserves 9/11 and is asking how come people live here if they hate it so much, which is anyone suggesting they hate it that much. They're just laying out what's actually going on.
Why do they care about the interests of Israel more than they care about the interests of America? Get the fuck out of my country, dude. What the fuck is going on? What do you mean? What is this? Oh, dude, this is a fucking really important thing that we're doing here. Like, dude, I'm telling you, American foreign policy and Israel's involvement in American foreign policy is one direction, okay? They are aligned. This much is true. But the fucking...
That's how allies work, guy.
The reality that Israel gets to call the shots in any capacity is so fucking insane to me.
Now. That's very good. So preparations have been underway. But this is extremely serious. I'm sure our intelligence community is doing everything to see what Iran might have in mind. And whether Iran, given their disarray, can really muster any sort of an effective response. And the hope I know in the administration here is that the diplomacy and making clear to Iran that, don't think about it, this can be it, prevails. That would not be unprecedented. I have to say something, Anderson. This event we're seeing right now, totally unprecedented. But last October, Israel launched an air attack into Iran after they were attacked by ballistic missiles. That had never been done before. an overt air attack, Israel attacked Iran. The assumption was Iran would massively respond, and they didn't. A couple other things, Anderson, to keep in mind. You know, all presidents are they're experienced, determined decision making. President Trump did the strike against Qasem Soleimani in January of 2020, and the response was not insignificant. About 15 ballistic missiles were fired at an American base.
I told you they would use Qasem Soleimani. Did I not fucking tell you that every single person, Brett McGurk obviously is not in Trump's ear because he was Biden's guy, but they are uniparty, so it doesn't matter. I fucking told you that they would use Qasem Soleimani's retaliation from Iran as a reason to quiet Trump down. If he were to be like, oh, what if war breaks out? Then they probably told his fucking stupid ass. Remember when nothing happened after Qasem Soleimani's assassination?
Well, nothing happened after his assassination. You know why? Because they can't do anything. That's why. I mean, that's the reason.
Don't worry, these Iranians are fucking servile. They won't do anything. So now that's the best possible outcome here. The best possible outcome here for global stability, I guess, is if Iran doesn't fucking retaliate. If Iran doesn't fucking retaliate, and then they're just like a failed state from this point on. Following the United States attack on Iran, the Home Front Command is changing the guidelines back to the most stringent. Breaking: Qom Province Crisis Management spokesperson hours ago, after Qom's air defense activated and identified hostile targets, part of the Fordow nuclear site was subjected to enemy aerial aggression. These are a few pieces that we know of what might have happened in Fordow. They still are showing the fucking Fordow strike target. Oh my God. They're literally, they love this. They love this fucking satellite imagery, dude. They fucking nut to it. They jerked off to it for literally the past fucking week and a half. Look at that. Look. It's just so strikeable. It's just looking. Look at what it's wearing. Look at what Fordow was wearing. It just looks so submissive and so ready for a fucking strike.
Well, they got it. I mean, so yeah, okay, all right.
Who would be involved in any kind of response of proxy forces, correct?
Yes. As a military tactical campaign, this Israeli campaign over the last 9 days has been incredibly effective. That's tactical. Does it lead to the strategic effect you want of Iran no longer having a nuclear enrichment program by which they might be able to produce a weapon? Still remains to be seen. I think the odds of that after the American strikes tonight are very high. But you know, Israel's campaign the last 9 days also completely unprecedented. I think if you asked anyone who follows the Middle East 2 years ago, what would Iran do if Israel launched a massive military and intelligence campaign
Iranian fake news. I don't know how much stock you can put into what's being said right now, but they largely seem unfazed because they insist their key nuclear assets were moved out of facilities that were attacked.
I have no idea what he's saying now.
I know they said that already. I know they said that a couple days ago. They said that they had already, before even the nuclearization agreement started, that they would move the enriched uranium that they already had to different places, like to secret locations. So I don't think they have it there. I don't think they're bluffing. No. That part is not a bluff. I don't think that part is a bluff. But it still doesn't matter. This is a violation of the fucking country's sovereignty, man. What are we talking about? This is America entering the war directly.
Say the words international law, please. Just say the words international law.
I suspect that the reason why they're talking about how unfazed they are is because this might show that their response will be relatively restrained again, and then they'll just slowly but surely.
He's disappointed about that too. He is disappointed about that. He is disappointed that their response is going to be little. Oh man, too bad. Hopefully they'll kill a lot of people, man. Mr. America deserves 9/11.
Surely death by 1,000 cuts, get fucking destroyed. It's over.
Leader could say, I have to drink from the poison chalice and give up the nuclear program. Here, that choice has been made for him. And how he responds.
Shut the fuck up. Oh my God. U.S. President Donald Trump tells me in a phone call, we had great success tonight. Your Israel is much safer now. Oh my God. Donald Trump literally calling Barack Ravid directly. Your Israel is much safer tonight. Yeah, Trump posts after Soleimani strike on January 3rd, 2020. There it is. Trump posts an American flag.
And?
Why doesn't Donald Trump go live there, dude? Oh, that's right, because they don't have enough fucking, gay activities that he likes, like fucking Broadway shows, and enough interest in churning out good art. Is that why? You don't want to fucking listen to psytrance every day? Donald Trump, go live in Israel. Why the fuck are you the president of America?
Awesome. That's right, not enough gay activities there. What? Awesome.
The Atomic Energy Organization of Iran rarely tweets in English, yet its recent English posts center on condemning the International Atomic Energy Agency, signaling that Tehran may be gearing up to pull out of its safeguards agreement with the IAEA. Our nuclear facilities have been attacked. Why has the International Atomic Energy Agency remained silent? If these attacks are not condemned, the consequences of our decisions will directly fall upon the International Atomic Energy Agency. We no longer trust the IAEA or its inspection regime. They shouldn't. They shouldn't. They're not wrong. That's not a wrong statement. New reporting from CNN. Trump hopes strikes prompt new diplomacy and isn't currently planning on additional. Dude, we are a delusional country. We are actually a delusional country. Iran confirms via drop site. Spokesperson. Here's the first confirmation from Iranian officials on the strikes. Spokesperson for Qom Provincial Crisis Management Headquarters. A few hours ago, the Qom air defenses were activated and hostile targets were identified. Part of the Fordow nuclear site area was attacked by enemy airstrikes. Do we think Iran will retaliate? I don't know. I don't know.
He's so depressed by that. That's so weird to listen to him be so upset about this? I mean, he's just sitting there. He's like, I don't know. I just don't know if they're gonna be able to do it. I just don't know. Good God, dude. Why don't you go live there?
I don't know. I like under normal circumstances, yes. If they even care to beat Iran going forward, they have to. But given what they've done in the past, their retaliation always has been, including the tit for tat between Israel and Iran this past week, has always been so restrained that
restrained? They're not restrained. They're launching missiles at hospitals and just civilian populations. Not restrained. They've been limited. Holy cow.
that I don't know if they will do the nuclear option, which is not nukes, obviously. The nuclear option in this circumstance would be lighting the fucking Gulf's oil refineries on fire, mining the Strait of Hormuz.
Yes, blow up your own oil refineries. That is the correct solution. I mean, Americans are not rolling through your country trying to take those things over. That's not what's happening. They're going to blow up their own refineries. They're going to mine the strait, and that's what they're going to do. Now, there is talk about them shutting the strait. That's going to cause gas prices to go up, but that'll be short term.
Hormuz and starting a untold barrage, a previously unforeseeable barrage of fucking ballistic missile fires at all American assets in the region, while simultaneously getting Hezbollah to strike Israel now that Israel's air defenses have been depleted, seemingly, considering that even fucking much slower drones were able to penetrate the Israeli.
Oh, now he's hoping for Hezbollah to get involved. Hezbollah's already got their ass kicked too, by the way.
Iron Dome, getting Yemen to also strike American assets in the region on the other side, while getting Hezbollah to fucking strike into Israel would.
You're just laying out why they got hit. I mean, you're just laying out why Iran has to be stopped, and you're doing it like in a pouty way. They're laying out exactly why they have to hit them in the first place. Because listen to all the proxies you're laying out about how they should attack different places.
Would be the nuclear option. I don't think that they're going to do that. We shall see. But if they were to even entertain a fraction of what I'm talking about, gas is going to be $1 million, okay? U.S. briefing troops to expect counterstrikes in the region. I know, but if the counterstrikes in the region are limited, like after the Qasem Soleimani assassination from Trump, then it's not that significant. WWE has an event in Riyadh next Saturday. Would blowing up John Cena be seen as a big enough strike on America? I don't know what this will look like.
Okay, now they've gone too far.
Yeah, if Iran doesn't retaliate, they're just basically telling the world that they're totally chill with what's going on and are basically conceding they don't have sovereignty anymore. It's dire. Yeah, it's basically saying we don't have any air-to-air defenses.
Okay, so you see what's happening here? His chat and his talk himself is saying you have to respond. On the screen right now it says, "Yep, they have to be aggressive." The next one says, "No, spare John Cena because he's cool." All right.
We don't have any control over our own airspace. We have no control over. We have no protection. You can come in and you can fuck us as hard as you want. Good luck. GG's, well played. GG, WP. That is it's, if Iran doesn't retaliate in this circumstance, or even if it retaliates, there still might be a decapitation strike. Okay? If that is imminent, then at that point, it's like, do you want to maintain some semblance of a state? Which then you go into long and extended conflict with the United States of America, which is all but surely going to end the American empire if there was like boots on the ground military warfare.
He's worried about the Ayatollah. He's worried about him.
Someone said MAGA would instinctively fall in line, and they are. Matt Gates, President Trump basically wants this to be like the Soleimani strike, one and done, no regime change war. Trump the peacemaker. Yeah. Look at that. Look at that. Good call not going to Bureau card in hindsight, lol. I mean, I wasn't invited. They know I'd be fucking whipping ass.
I don't know what that is. I have no idea what that is.
Bernie's live response. Yeah, they're too scared of me over there. They know I'm too much of a good gamer. Don't worry, Dems will follow suit. Iranian officials cited by Fars News Agency witnessed attacks near Isfahan and Natanz nuclear facilities. Trump wants Iran to attack U.S. so we can stand in front of Congress and demand troops. It's fascism, y'all. Chatter, I'm going to keep it $150 with you. There is no Congress, okay? Wake up. Oh. The only thing Congress is good for is cutting taxes. That's it, okay? That's it. That's it. That's it. There's no Congress. Guys. This is an illegal act. This is an unconstitutional act. It was an unconstitutional act when every other president did it to Yemen. Make no mistake. That was also unconstitutional. But there is no Congress. There is nothing. This is one-man show. I don't even know if it would be, I guess the major difference would be Democrats probably playing it by the book. Still, the actions would remain the same, but they probably try to play it as by the book as possible. And the messaging around this would be definitely a lot more airtight.
This guy's brain rot. We're going to have to stop right there. But man, what a bunch of credit. This is the hour or so after the attack went down. He's spinning out, rooting for Iran, hoping they'll attack, hoping they'll go after Americans, hoping they'll go after the Israelis, hoping Hezbollah is involved, hoping the Houthis are involved, hoping and praying that maybe get Al-Qaeda involved. Who knows? But these guys are really, really, really hoping for this, as chat is completely insane. It looks like Iran is going to try some sort of small response, but Donald Trump is going to try to get them to play nice with the world. They haven't done it yet. Maybe this will be their wake-up call. Either way, we'll stay on top of it. If you're watching anywhere, please like or subscribe or follow the page that you're seeing this on. I'd greatly appreciate it. I've got 2 radio shows, one in Chattanooga, Tennessee, one in Huntsville, Alabama. I also write and make videos for YellowHammerNews.com, and I have a TV show as well. So a lot going on there. Thank you very much for being here.